Thor Node contracts are officially in version 2, meaning they are no longer a fork. That's right, they are no longer a fork. They have their own smart contracts, and this is huge for Thor Financial and Thor Nodes. So in this video, I'm going to go over all the changes, every single little detail of the Thor version 2 contracts. Now for current Thor owners and future Thor Node owners, you want to listen to this entire video because it can affect how much money you'll be making, and it can affect whether or not you'll lose your Thor Node rewards. So you can see here in the Thor Financial Discord, they have been alerted by the developers, and this was March 6th, so this was a couple days ago, that they are officially in version 2. They are no longer a fork. Now with version 2, they brought some new things such as better compounding, like you being able to compound from your wallet instead of just from your accrued rewards. And along with that, they've been adjusting a bunch of things such as distribution when you buy a node, what goes to the treasury, what's sold, what goes to LP, and everything like that. So before we get into all these details of Thor version 2, let's just look at the price real quick. It is right now, at the time of this video, $35. Again, around the past few days, it's been hovering around that $45 to $35 mark. Now you can see at this 1 month chart, it's almost like Thor is leveling out around this area. I'm hoping because version 2 was just released along with the node reward reductions ending, that Thor will be on an uphill climb from here. And if we take a quick look at Thor, you can see right here I have about 0.4 in rewards, and V2, as I said, now they have maintenance fees. So you can see right here there is a pay fees button as well as the normal claim button, but we'll go over that in more detail in just a second. And just to check real quick on the liquidity pool farm, the Thor AVAX Joe LP token, as you can see right now at the time of this video, it is 372% APR. So now that we've got that Thor price update out of the way, let's go over every single detail of these version 2 contracts because it will affect you and it will affect Thor price. So version 2 of these contracts are already out, they're already deployed, so they are there and they are complete. Now the first very big thing for version 2 of these smart contracts for Thor Financial and Thor Nodes are the changes to the node creation tokenomics. So they've made this nice little chart comparison before, that means V1, and after to V2. All right, let's look at this more closely. So you can see here, version 1, version 2, the first row here is the reward distribution pool. Now this is the pool or percentage of Thor that are actually being paid out to us as Thor owners. This portion of money is how we can make passive income with Thor Nodes. Now the big change here is you can see version 1, 49%, version 2, 65%, meaning there now is more Thor going to the reward distribution pool. This, in theory, should protect Thor Financial from rugging out in the end or completely flopping, because they'll have a larger pool to make sure rewards never dry out. Now you can see the star right here next to the 65% as well as the 15% for treasury, and that's because those two items are actually adjustable. Based on price changes in Thor and other things, they can decrease or increase those percentages. We'll get into some scenarios of how or why they would do that in just a second. But the second thing is the treasury. Now this is any Thor that's being paid towards a Thor node, and this percentage is being sold for AVAX to then buy more investments for Thor Financial's treasury. Again, for those of you that don't know what the treasury is, basically all the money that Thor is getting in their treasury, they're then investing that money, and that's how they're able to get us returns. The community is able to vote on these investments, and hopefully they end up panning out to be very, very good investments, so this protocol and Thor can keep growing. Now this has actually been lessened for the time being from 21% in version 1 of Thor to 15% in version 2. Now I actually do think this is a decent plan because I do know that not all of the treasury was actually being invested. Not that the whole thing needs to be invested at one point, but it is good to have some reserves in case there's a good investment opportunity that comes up. Again, this is variable depending on price and other things we'll get to in just 1 second. Now the third item here is liquidity, and you can see this did not change from version 1 to version 2, and this is basically how people can get from AVAX to Thor. There needs to be a healthy liquidity pool just for the protocol to survive. This will stay at 10 and I'm all good with that. The last item here is development, marketing, and other expenses. Now we can see this also lessened from 20% to 10%. Now this item right here does make you wonder, what was that extra 10% they're getting rid of going to before? Were the devs just making all this money and they haven't really been investing that into anything else? I do think that's probably the case. But regardless, they've lessened that money and hopefully they're taking that 10% and investing it into development and other projects such as Gods of Asgard, their PoE game. Again, Thor has been pretty straightforward so far, so I wouldn't look at this as a good or bad thing. And then this bottom row just shows if you add up all the Thor sold upon node creation. Before it was 46%, now it's 30%. This just means we have about 16% more of Thor being held onto and not sold. This in theory should help Thor price over time because there will be more Thor being bought than there is sold. Now again, they just have some commentary here, reduction of tokens sold at node creation. That's just what I went over in this chart, but they say they expect to see a notable positive difference. And I would definitely agree with them. Because there's going to be more Thor, in theory, supply and demand should show that yes, Thor price should go up. Now this is the one interesting part about these version 2 contracts for Thor Nodes and Thor Financial is the adjustable allocations during bear and bull markets. These correspond with those two top rows that in version 2 are adjustable. That's 65% for the reward distributions and the 15% for the treasury. So they say implementing adjustable allocation percentages for the reward distribution pool and the treasury will allow the Thor protocol to further control node creation sell pressure by reducing the amount of Thor tokens that are sold on node creation. Now they give some good examples here. The first is during a bearish or high sell-off period. In this case, the treasury percentage which is sold for AVAX may be reduced by X amount percent. And on the flip side, the reward distribution pool which is not sold may be increased by an X amount of percent. So what they're trying to do here in a bear market where there are high sell-offs is increase the amount of Thor in the market and decrease the amount that is being sold. Now this would reduce the number of tokens sold at node creation. Now on the flip side, during very bullish or low sell-off periods where Thor is just climbing up, the treasury percentage may be increased while the reward distribution pool may be decreased. All of this fluctuation in the percentages is being done so Thor becomes relatively stable, although I don't think it'll become super stable anyway, but this should help a little bit from super drastic price increases or decreases. Again, they reiterate here that these two changes will significantly mitigate the node creation and compounding sell pressure that negatively impacts price action. Their whole goal here is for you and me to keep compounding your Thor and buying more Thor nodes. So now in version 2, we get the comparison of the taxes and fees for Thor nodes. Now the two things we're talking about here are claim taxes and maintenance fees. Claim taxes have always been here, and this is the percentage that you will be taxed for claiming your Thor rewards. Now these claim tax percentages, as you can see here in this chart, have not changed from version 1 to version 2. Odin nodes are 10, Thor's 8, Freya's 5, Heimdall is 1, and in version 2, no change. Now these claim taxes, any of them that are being given to Thor Financial, they are not being sold, they are being placed back into the reward distribution pool. Again, this is supposed to decrease sell pressure from claiming your Thor. Now, what is new with these Thor Node version 2 contracts are the maintenance fees. As you can see here, there were no maintenance fees in version 1, but now there are maintenance fees in version 2. So you can see every 30 days, that's basically every month, an Odin node is $80 a month, Thor Node is $20, Freya is $10, and Heimdall is $5. Now these numbers as they stand today are going to be cutting into rewards at a pretty high rate. What Thor Financial is hoping is that Thor will go up in price in the near future. Now Thor Financial does say that they've been monitoring this, everyone's been having a bunch of questions about these maintenance fees, and if the node fees become not profitable for node owners, they will adjust those fees. Now hopefully they don't have to, because hopefully Thor price will be on the upswing, but if Thor does go down at all, they're going to need to step in and lower those maintenance fees. And again, for those of you with Thor nodes, the first node fees aren't due until April 5th. I'm personally gonna wait till April 1st to pay my fees in case they do go down or in case there are some other announcements about these fees. But you do not wanna wait until April 5th to pay these fees, as you'll see why in just a second. Now those maintenance fees are going to have to be paid in AVAX, so you'll need Avalanche to pay these fees in the Thor app. And these maintenance fees will be going to the treasury. Again, the treasury is the pool of money that Thor Financial will be investing into other projects. So with those maintenance fees, here are all the details. So as I said, the first due date for those maintenance fees are April 5th. Now for nodes created after March 6th, the first due date is 30 days from your date of node creation. Now you can pay these maintenance fees an unlimited amount ahead of time, but once the due date is reached, a node becomes inactive. And you do not want your Thor node to become inactive, because when a node is set as inactive, all of your pending rewards that you have earned will be permanently lost. Now that's bad for you because you will be losing your Thor that you've accrued so far. So again, be sure if you do have a Thor node active that you go pay those reward fees in Avalanche as soon as you really can. Again, I'm waiting this first time until April 1st just to see if anything happens, but in reality it should be all fine, and just be sure to pay before April 5th. Now you can reactivate a node by paying a reactivation fee, which they don't have an amount on that yet, plus any past due maintenance fees. Reward accrual will start from 0, as you will have lost your rewards if your node becomes inactive. Now additional version 2 features of Thor that I'm very excited about are number 1, being able to compound with your wallet balance, meaning if you have Thor in your MetaMask wallet, you can use that plus your accrued rewards to then compound to buy another node. Besides that, there's things like unlimited nodes per wallet. That means you can have greater than the current max at 100. There's more wallet integration, meaning you can use Wallet Connect in addition to MetaMask. And there are good Avalanche gas fee optimizations, expecting to save 30 to 50% on gas fees, which is great because Avalanche has been coming a little bit more expensive with their gas fees recently. So I know that was a lot of information for version 2 of the smart contracts. If you have any questions about Thor Nodes version 2, please put them down below in the comments. I'll answer every single question you all have. If you want to learn about another new passive crypto income project, click here.